You've seen the thumbnail on this video. When sailing turns serious, Sailing Oceanaire is back to share the real experience behind that moment. What happened while cruising on their sailboat and what they learned from it. First, help a sailor out by hitting like, subscribe, and share. And check out the Salty Podcast shop on Shopify. Link in the description. And check out my new sailing SPF shirts. I'm Capn Tinsley, live from Coconut Grove, Florida, aboard sailing vessel Salty Abandon, preparing for the Bahamas. Let's go. Welcome, Renee and Chris.
Hi, Tinsley.
Good evening.
Hey, Tinsley.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us back.
So shall we just jump into what we were talking about on that thumbnail?
Sure.
We've been trying to do this for a while, but schedules and whatnot. So here we are. So who wants to start?
I had a short hospital stay, which kept us from doing it for a while. But
Short.
Yeah.
Was it short?
So not short. So back in June, we were sitting here eating dinner on Oceanaire in Bequia. We're in Bequia, and we had some lionfish in the fridge, and Renee said, "Hey, this has
Can
been
you
in there
move
a
a
while."
little closer to the mic? Sorry,
Sure.
guys.
So
okay.
Renee said, "Hey, I'm going to fry this because we just want to make sure it's not bad." And we don't eat fried fish, but we had fried fish, and that was sort of a trigger. And I was in just unbelievable pain, like 30 minutes after dinner. To the extent where I said, "Renee, get our buddy boat or Omegason and get me to shore." And they did. And
where were you?
We were in Bequia.
Where you are now. Okay.
Yeah, we're in Bequia.
Grenadines.
And so it was about this hour. It was dark. We went in and went to the little hospital here, and they treated me for
gastroenteritis.
Yeah,
your average stomach ache.
So I was just in a ton of pain. Fast forward a couple of days, I'm still in a lot of pain. They put me in an ambulance and on the ferry across to St. Vincent. And I ended up in the ICU in the hospital in St. Vincent. And the doctors and nurses there were fantastic. And within 5 minutes, they were like, "We got to get you off this island. We can't help you." They realized that my gallbladder had either ruptured or done something really bad. And they knew then, literally within 5 minutes of being seen, that I needed to go. And that started a process that Renee could talk to more closely, but getting an air ambulance to St. Vincent and getting me back to the U.S. I spent 30 days in the hospital in Fort Lauderdale, and I spent then we moved to Jacksonville where my doctors are, and I spent about another month in the hospital in Jacksonville. I didn't eat for a lot of that. Lost about 70 pounds. And
70?
70. And, there really wasn't much they could do for me other than keep me stable and keep me alive. Apparently the pancreas, what I had was a pretty bad case of extreme pancreatitis. What was it called?
Necrotizing pancreatitis. Where the pancreas enzymes are eating itself, basically, because they've got nowhere to go. So they got me stable, and then they did a series of endoscopies to clean out all the junk that had been dumped by my gallbladder on my pancreas. And that was in kind of end of August, early September. And after the fifth one, I started to feel human again. Started to be able to eat. Started to sort of, feel like I might actually live. But it was.
And how long? At what point? How much time had gone by the time you started feeling it?
The night, it was June 9th or 10th.
June 10th is when it happened.
Yeah, and I spent all of the month of June and good part of July in the hospital in Fort Lauderdale. Some of that in ICU, and then
it was 3 months before we knew he was out of the woods, basically.
Yeah,
Wow.
No, it was.
Yeah, the doctors in Fort Lauderdale were like, yeah, if you'd been in here a few days earlier, we could have done more. But now we just have to wait and sit and let the body heal. And pretty miraculous, it did. And here I am.
How did you get to the States?
So we had, that was like the thumbnail story. We had quite the adventure. We were literally on anchor in Admiralty Bay in Bequia and had our buddy boat, Earl and Joyce, got to call them out, give them all the props on Catalina, come get us to the hospital here on Bequia, which is the equivalent of a small clinic in the States. And unfortunately, they did try to tell us for 2 days it was gastroenteritis and take some Pepsid, you'll be fine. And, he eventually began to jaundice is what kicked everybody into gear. I just said, no, we're turning yellow. We need more care. And so they said, yeah, you're right. Let's go to the mainland. So they put him in an ambulance and onto the ferry and took us to the hospital in St. Vincent in Kingstown. And we were on the phone with our travel accident provider. As scuba divers, we've had Dan, Divers Alert Network,
Diver
for
Dan.
years.
Yeah.
We also have broader coverage for things like this. So we were prepared, or so we thought. And Dan has a set of requirements, right, before they can airlift you out.
Mm.
And those were really hard to meet in such a remote environment. They required paperwork, and I, for the life of me, couldn't get paperwork out of this little hospital after office hours. And I'm trying to explain to them that their head of surgery is saying that my husband is critical, needs to go now, and they're holding me up for paperwork. The company also has to have a flight crew, obviously, a plane, a flight crew. They also need to have a bed in the U.S. that will accept the patient before transfer so that the plane knows where it's going. So before a plane even gets dispatched to you, you've got to have all your ducks in a row. And that was excruciating. We finally got the paperwork going, and then we had all kinds of fun where they had a hard time actually finding a plane to send us. Then they had a hard time finding a crew. They sent us a crew whose airtime with the FAA timed out. They reached their limits, and we're going to have to sit overnight and leave the next day. And we're trying to explain this is truly life and death.
Yeah.
It was just a cluster. We also had a scenario where the air ambulance company was told they could not come in and go back out that day because the airport was closing at dark for maintenance.
So many rules.
So we have the hospital.
Rules in every direction.
Yes. So we have the hospital getting on with the airport saying this is a life flight. They need to go. And supposedly that was all squared away. The airport said, of course, we'll stay open for you. But unfortunately, the team told us that that wasn't what they were hearing, and they were timing out, and we'd have to wait till the next day. So while we had a Learjet, a physician, a nurse, and a medic, we couldn't leave. So we had 2 days of time here on Bequia where we were undertreated. We had almost 2 days on the mainland St. Vincent where we just couldn't get out to save our lives, even though we had a plan and thought everything was squared away. And that almost cost him his life. It was touch and go. And the doctors kept saying that to us. We're going to get you on this plane, but understand he's not out of the woods. They could address the symptomology, but they could not really do what needed to happen. They couldn't address the gallbladder. And yeah, it took basically, we got to the U.S. They sent us to Fort Lauderdale. Mm-hmm. By the time we got there, he was septic. It had affected his entire abdomen. All the organs, all the systems were beginning to go haywire. And so that's why they just had to spend the first month getting him stable enough to address the original problem, which, were you in the States, you'd have a gallbladder attack, you'd have it addressed, and likely that'd be the end of your story, right? Here, it became a cascading series of events that landed us with necrotizing pancreatitis, which you don't often come back from. It was really scary. So yeah, down to 70 pounds, couldn't eat, not sustaining himself. That's the ugly part of it. The phenomenal part of it that we want to be sure people understand is the links that this cruising community went to rally around us. I mean, this whole experience was a contrast of nightmares and miracles.
Yeah, absolutely right. I Googled survivability of this condition of mine in late October because I didn't want to know. And it was, the Google says it's 20 to 30%. So I'm really lucky
pancreatitis is serious business.
Yeah.
What now? Fish tie into this? You had told about the fish. Was there a tie-in with the fish?
The only thing that has to do with anything is that we don't usually eat fried food, and we did, and that can spark a gallbladder issue, and it did. So that's all that was. Yeah. But it was
it can spark a problem that was already there.
Yeah, yeah. It likely would have occurred anyway. But that was maybe that was the catalyst, or it was a real coincidence, right?
Right.
But
and you're back there now. So obviously, what's your takeaway? Like, if something happens in an area like this, what can you advise people in a situation like this?
Get me home insurance for sure. And there's a bunch of different vendors. I call it Get Me Home Insurance, but have insurance. There's Global Rescue, there's Dan, there's others. Have a policy. The Dan policy, I think, is $400 a year for the two of us. It's cheap.
Mm-hmm.
The flight out of here was $48,000.
Yeah.
They paid for it, right? They paid that bill. So have that. And then the other thing that Renee did that was really helpful was just be organized, right? She had all of our medical stuff, our passports, our boat paperwork, everything ready to go. And, that, allowed us to not be here. Well, it wouldn't have been me, it would have been her, but be organized and be ready for something where you need all that stuff in one place.
And I would say have it on your phone, a device electronically as well as paper, because you could be out in your dinghy, you could be off on an excursion, stuff happens, right? When you don't expect it. And so the fact that we had a lot of things on our electronic devices helped a lot. My biggest takeaway from this is try your best to be prepared. We'd gotten a bit complacent about knowing what the medical facilities were nearby, things like that. But we did have the coverage, and that was extremely helpful. Now, I will tell you, I don't know we've been in talks with Dan because there were some huge failures in our case. Mm-hmm. There were some huge failures with a friend of ours in his scenario. We had been told that they had addressed those shortcomings and were going to stand by the reputation that they had earned and yada, yada. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but
well, my experience with Dan is, of course, for diving, but I had friends, another couple that we traveled with, who got a little reckless with his diving, going up and down, and he gave himself the bends, and it came back in grease, and they paid for it all. They paid for airlifting and the chamber and the whole bit. You had to go in the end.
In the end, they did cover the expense for that, but they also damn near cost us his life.
Sure. A lot of hesitation.
They couldn't find a plane and they couldn't find a flight crew. Hello, I'm sorry. I'm paying you to have those things available should they need to be available. And they simply were not. So I don't want to get too deep in the woods on that. So,
well, can I ask you a question about the hours of the pilots? Whose rule was that? Was that
FAA? But it's Dan's responsibility.
Okay.
But it's Dan's responsibility to have those subcontractors available. Period. End of story.
Right.
Gotcha.
So even if you have the Get Me Home insurance, you know, do your best to be organized, to understand what the policy limitations are. It's not going to be easy if you're remote. You just have to stay on top of everything.
And in knowing that the paperwork getting so hard out of the hospital, I guess when you're there, knowing what you know now, you can say, okay, give me the paperwork right now. Do you think that would next time?
The surgeon walked with me to the office, and they still send it around the hospital for editing, review, and approval, things like that. When one medical report from a department he's already finished with could have given Dan the authority to release the resources, right? So
bureaucracy
that was really,
is crazy in hospitals.
Yeah. So, you know, we had an issue with the providers getting a bed back home, with getting paperwork from the hospital here, from being undertreated in the clinic, to the resources with the medevac. So it was not a good situation. But again, the cruising community is what saved our bacon. The fact that everybody in this anchorage tried to pitch in, did pitch in, wanted to pitch in, and are still pitching in to help us get back on our feet.
So the boat stayed there.
Yeah. So
yes and no.
Yeah, it did for a little while. So we were on the hook, right? So you can't leave your boat on the hook, in a third country. So
in hurricane season.
Yeah, and so two of our good friends, Renee mentioned the folks on Carolina, Joyce and Earl, and Brian and Polly on Jolie took care of the boat. They moved the boat first to Grenada and then to Trinidad. They got her on the hard. They did all the things that you need to do.
Amazing.
You know, I mean, they rinsed our anchor chain. They cleaned out the fridges. They rinsed the outboard. They took the sails down and got them to the shop for cleaning. Like, they did all the things that you do.
Yes.
Let's give a big shout out to these people. Let's name some names.
Seriously. Earl and Joyce on Carolina. Polly and Brian on Jolie. Those were the two. Like, for instance, Joyce and Earl have been our friends since the lake life in Atlanta, but they've been our buddy boat off and on for years. We picked up Jolie along the way. They're phenomenal as well. But, you know, Earl and Joyce were right here next to us. So from the moment we called and said, help, get over here with your dinghy, they were here.
Right.
Polly and Brian had just left Bequia and sailed to Grenada and flew back just to help get our boat south.
Right.
So I've yet, none of these people let me reimburse them for airline tickets or for CNI entry into other countries. Like, they just jumped in, they did the things, and then they kept doing the things, right? Like, my boat was provisioned for a season and it didn't get used. So they went through all of the food and gave it to people that needed it, used what they could, that sort of thing. Like Chris said, you know, took care of the anchor chain, took care of getting us squared away. Yeah. So we literally left our boat in the Grenadines, got sent home on a plane, and came back to our boat in its hurricane spot on the hard in Trinidad. Wow. Totally put to bed.
Right.
And those that weren't hands-on with Oceanaire were doing something behind the scenes.
Right.
Helping us get a bag from the boat to the U.S. because we left with backpacks. Helping us get our devices and ship them to the States. And just the list goes on and on.
We had our friends on Annivason, Phil and Sue. They flew from New York to come see me in Fort Lauderdale. Their dad.
For the deck.
Yeah.
For the deck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Phil Sr., Phil's dad, who we've met, great guy, loaned us his house in Florida for 3 months while I was recovering.
Wow.
We stayed in St. Augustine at another friend's condo.
More cruiser friends. So we cruised totally
for the cruising community.
Seriously.
Yeah.
When the Gadellises, when we said we're trying to move up to Jacksonville to be close to his doctors, they said, we've got a place, we're not in it now, go
stay.
And so we spent a month in sailing vessel Babu's house. You know, it just, everybody we know pitched in some form or fashion. It was amazing.
It's really remarkable.
That's humbling, isn't it?
Right?
It's humbling, and yeah, you think back at it. There were, I wish I could name everybody, but there were literally hundreds of people that helped. And, you know, I get to Trinidad, right? I'm in the yard. We use powerboats down in Trinidad. Great yard. Every single employee down there was aware of my situation and came up to me and said, "Man, it's so good to see you here." You know, and I hadn't been down there in 2 years, right? We missed a season. And, you know, just the outpouring of love and support, just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when our boat was hauled, side rub rail got cracked, and the buddy boats want to take care of it because they felt responsible. Totally not their doing, not their problem. And so I called the yard and I said, by no means are you to take payment from anybody that's been helping me out. And they said, no, we've got this. You guys have been great customers.
Yeah.
You guys have been great advocates for us and advertisers.
Yeah, let's shout out the boatyard. Who's the boatyard?
Absolutely. Power Boats, Marine Facilities Limited, Chaguaramas, Trinidad.
Yeah.
They were phenomenal. They helped get the AC unit set up so our boat was dry while we were gone. They worked with the vendors, right? Earl and Joyce, Brian and Polly, those guys were all like literally pulling sails and helping us get our sails taken care of for the hurricane season. Just the list goes on. And so the vendors are working away and the boatyard's helping us manage everything. Right. And it just is a great example of what I'd always heard about this community. You've got each other's back. You help, you give what you can, you do what you can, the whole thing. Everybody really just paid it forward.
Yeah, really.
That's amazing.
Really
it's really above and beyond.
I mean, so far.
Absolutely.
And still, like, we feel bad because right now we're kind of slowing down our posse that we've been traveling with. Today we were busy caulking and doing some jobs that we weren't there to do, right? For 6 months. This boat sat for 6 months. It's not sat for 6 months since I don't know when. Not as long as we've owned it, and that's 9 years. So it's kind of mad at us. She's got some problems. We've been working through generator, refrigeration. Autopilot went out as we approached the bay.
The heads, we had to use a bucket for
the first time.
Bucket for what?
A head. So
is that why you had a picture of a bucket on your Facebook?
Maybe. So
I thought of that. I was thinking that. I was like,
we're still sorting some bugs from having been away, and our group is jumping in. Earl has spent at least 3 8-hour days over here sorting electrical issues because he's good like that and he's genuine like that. And everybody's still helping us get going again. Yeah.
The re-entry was hard. You know, I sat in a hospital bed and Renee sat in a chair next to me for a long time. And then we sat on couches and in car seats for a couple of months before we got back here. So we were pretty I don't know.
Low energy.
Yeah, low energy.
Out of shape, mentally, physically exhausted.
Yeah. So getting the boat, we spent 2 weeks on the Heart in Trinidad, working our tails off, getting it back together. And then that was kind of the first part of December. And then, since then we've been doing the same. We're finally getting to a point where cross my fingers, knock on wood, everything works. We made water yesterday. We had water maker issues. Made water, 180 gallons of water yesterday. My generator's running great. Like everything's finally, boats don't like to sit, and she's reminding us, don't let me sit.
So would you say this was like a life-changing experience?
I think so. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
The whole perspective.
Just how fortunate we are. How fortunate I am to have her. Like, this girl saved my life. She got me home. She sat next to me, like she never left my side. She was an unbelievable advocate with the doctors and nurses. You know, stuff that you can't do. I was really sick, and you know, never left my side.
Let's see if there's a comment here. We love you guys. It was this is SV Carolina by and large.
Carolina,
That's
Carolina
right.
is Earl and
Carly-
Joyce. That's our buddy boat.
Yeah,
It
they're
was all a
fantastic.
team effort from all our buddy boats, and we are glad to have you back sailing. We live here.
That's our saying.
So that's Earl's tagline. We were in the
We live here.
Bahamas in
Wherever we
21. He gets on the radio. It's after hours, and hey, we live here. You know, and we do. Like we're in wherever we are. That's where we live.
You know, I had to be life flighted too from Key West to Miami.
Oh, did you?
I in 2021, after I had bought this boat and I had sailed it to the Bahamas and I mean to Key West, and I was riding my little fold up bike and I wasn't paying attention. I was messing with my phone and I was wearing flip flops and my ankle.
Of course you were.
Yeah, I had a compound fracture, so I looked down and the bone was sticking out of my ankle. It was broken in 3 spots, and I remember my eyes went boom. I had sunglasses on. I wouldn't look at it, and somebody came along, and it was like an angel, and I heard this real soothing voice, and that, you know, I couldn't see him, and I was like, this guy must be like a doctor on vacation or something. Just a voice.
Yeah.
And it turns out, after I found out later, he had 12 years in the U.S. Coast Guard, so he had some skills because they have to be EMTs. And he stayed with me until the ambulance came, and they said, we can't fix this in Key West, so we're going to life flight you. So they took me to, and they put me, and it was like 30 minutes, seemed like forever. And they took me straight into surgery, but they took me to Miami, and I had 2 surgeries. I had one surgery, and then 2 days later, and then 9 weeks on my butt in bed.
Oh,
and
gosh,
my husband, who passed away a year ago,
right.
yeah, he washed my hair in the sink and brought me meals, and it's a real, when I was shocked. I hadn't broken anything since I was 5 years old, and
Wow.
I was like, what have I done?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, my boat had to stay in Key West, and I had a friend there that was looking after it and getting some canvas made, because it was a new boat and I was still kind of doing stuff to it. So yeah, being in play, and then I had to battle with the insurance because they didn't want to pay, but you know, like $3,000 for the life flight. But that company told me how to deal with the insurance company. I appealed it, and they paid for most of it. So
That's good.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So
You never know what's going to happen.
It was shocking. It was absolutely shocking. I'm laying there, and I felt so silly because everybody's around me going, ooh, you know. And my husband almost went and punched one of them because I was like, don't look, you know. I didn't cry or anything. I'm just laying there on the pavement.
Wow.
So you're back there. How long have you been back on the boat?
We got back to Trinidad on the 3rd of December. We splashed her on the 17th, and we sailed to Grenada. We flew home for about a week to see the kids for Christmas, and then came back, and we sailed up here, I think right before New Year's, like the 29th or 30th. And so we've been sitting in Bequia for, you know, a week and a half.
And how long are you going to be there?
Probably another few weeks. Yeah, Earl and Joyce had wanted to go to the USVI, and we were struggling to be ready to go. And so they, as they always seem to do, changed their plans for us again. And we're just chilling for a few more weeks, and then we'll get going. And we'll probably go, you know, we'll hit Martinique, Guadeloupe. We're going to go to Yachty Week in Dominica. So shout out to the guys at Dominica. If you're down here, that Yachty Week is really fun. It's the 21st of March through the 28th. It's a great event. We're going to do that. And then we'll probably just start working our way back south. Probably be back here in May or June, and then, you know, back on the hard in Trinidad in July or August.
So how are you feeling now? I mean, you're
I feel
70
great.
pounds.
I feel
You probably, I mean, you got 70 pounds lighter. You had to get
Well,
some of your muscle tone back and everything.
We did not know what life would look like after his recovery. He, was malnourished and skinny and all that good stuff, but he eventually did have the offending gallbladder out, and that's supposed to come with its own set of challenges. How you eat, how you process foods, your body, how it deals with bile and insulin. And he's had several friends that have had his gallbladder out, and they've had to make accommodations. Some take medicine to help deal with it. We just didn't know what it looked like, if he would require longer term care, if he would require medication, regular visits. We didn't know if we'd be able to come back and do this and hop back into our life. And it is nothing short of miraculous that the man eats and drinks and does whatever he wants to do and has no issue whatsoever. I had a picture of him a couple weeks ago. He's lying on his abdomen on top of the engine, I guess, doing something in the bilge. And I just thought, wow, I didn't want to touch him for fear of causing pain. And here he is doing all the boat jobs, eating whatever. And it's
so he wouldn't have been able to lay. He's still sick, is what Carlin.
That's Earl. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I feel great, Tinsley. Before this happened, I needed to lose a little weight. I did, admittedly. I wouldn't recommend this diet, but I'm no longer on blood pressure medicine. I feel great. I feel really good.
Well, thank goodness. Yeah.
Luckiest guy on earth.
Well, okay. So I want to hear about your adventure on the other boat. So Renee, you went and crewed on another boat.
I did.
And you guys were separated, and Chris was like sailing down there, and you were you're on like a field trip on another boat. Let's hear about it.
Before Renee tells you the story, Earl, once again, he flew to Atlanta. We met him at the airport, and he helped me sail the boat back with another friend from Rock Chalk. And, so the three of us I couldn't have done it without those two guys. It was a 1,300-mile sail going against the wind. And so that allowed Renee to go do her thing.
So you were bringing the boat back.
Yeah. He's bringing the boat back to. So in 2024 was the first time since we left that we took Oceanaire back to the States. Okay. My mother was terminal with cancer. The middle kid was having the first grandbaby. Everybody said, you need to be home. So we went home for 2024. So for 2025, we were going to bring the boat back down. And, everyone said that when we had a grandbaby that Renee wouldn't want to roam anymore, that Renee would want to be home with that grandbaby all the time. And I do, but he's the one that, decided he didn't really want to go through the canal and head west and keep going. And so when an opportunity came up to crew on a Pacific crossing, he's like, let's make this happen. Let's do this for you. And so I joined a couple I did not know who were cruiser friends of mutual friends. And I didn't get on the boat until they were through the canal, because I wanted to be home for the grandbaby's first birthday. So she turned 1 and I flew to Panama, met the boat, and we hit the out islands of Panama. We spent a month in the Galapagos, a month in the Marquesas, and then we flew out of Tahiti. So I spent 3 months doing that, and I can talk to you about that all day. It was everything I hoped it would be and more. And then I literally got back 1 week before the whole medical saga. So it was a crazy year.
Yeah.
Well, what was that like, joining a boat that people you didn't know? That was a big risk. I mean, as old as we are,
right.
It's kind of hard.
Right. So it was tough. I had never crewed for anyone, right? I don't have to crew for somebody in order to go sailing. I've got Oceanaire here, my bestie. And they got me on the boat. They had been cruisers down here. They had sold their boat he wanted to do a crossing as well. So he said, come do it with me. So I said, sure. It was a great opportunity and it was a life goal met. But it was also challenging in a lot of ways. The boat was fantastic. It was a 2023 Fountaine Peugeot 42, I guess. I'm not sure. I should know that. But you know, we're a monohull. We lean.
Yeah.
They're a cat, and it was different motion on bad days. It was, you know, funny. I just felt like a drunken cat myself when the weather really kicked up. But we were fortunate that the Pacific was passive, and we had big following seas, but not much rough weather at all.
Yeah.
So we had a phenomenal stay in the Galapagos. We had 24 days from there to Fatihiva.
Tell me about the Galapagos. Tell me about
When
that.
I was in college, a bunch of my friends that studied biology went and stayed and studied for about 6 weeks on a boat. I just always wanted to go because I'd heard their stories of the blue-footed boobies and the tortoises and all the, you know, the Darwin stuff.
Yeah.
And as a diver, it's a bucket list location. Sure. So we ended up doing a crew change, which is part of the reason we stayed so long. I ended up getting sick and stuck in my bunk for 5 days. So
what kind of sick?
Must have eaten something that had some foreign cooties. My body just could not get over. So nothing horrid, just gastrointestinal, could not keep
It wasn't
anything.
seasickness. It was just
No.
Okay.
No, it was something that I ate on shore. And it was 5 days before I could keep anything besides water down. That was rough. But in terms of the Galapagos themselves, just absolutely everything I had hoped for. I did as much diving as I could do. I took my camera setup, even though it's a pain because I love the underwater photography. We got to dive the sites that you hear about. We got blown off of Kicker Rock, which is just a lifetime memory for me. You know, you're out in the middle of nowhere on this rock at a dive site, and the current was so bad, they had to come get us. Like, it was abort the dive right away. Everybody just got drug in different directions. But while we were down, we saw the hammerheads and the seals and all the cool things. So it's really neat. We were fortunate. I had heard that it was challenging and expensive to cruise Galapagos, and you might as well just fly in there and be a land tourist. And I'm so glad that I was able to do it on the boat, because it was no problem at all to move around the islands. Now, the owner of the vessel did use an agent, and I know that simplified things somewhat. But all we had to do was notify them of our movements in advance, which is the case in a lot of places, actually. So we were able to anchor at all 4 of the islands that have an anchorage. So we were able to hang out in the main island that has all the tourism. We were able to go to the government center. We were able to go to one that had like 150 people living on it. So,
well, when you say that it's expensive,
mhm.
Are you saying it's more expensive for a boat to go there to enter, or?
I'm just saying, for a vessel as a cruising ground, it is expensive. You know, I think it's in the ballpark of $3,000 to $4,000 right now for a cruising vessel to go through the Panama Canal. It's another $3,000, $3,500 to cruise the Galapagos with an agent and have things made easy for you.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's an expensive place to go.
Yeah, it's all a marine park, right? It's all protected. They're very, very, very particular about what you bring in. They don't even bring food, for the most part, from mainland Ecuador. They try to grow and have a sustainable system there so that they don't bring in any foreign microbes, etc., into the Galapagos Islands. So it was.
So it's the reason so expensive for a boat is they're trying to make sure that you don't pollute the place.
That's a big part of it. When we arrived, 8 people came out to the boat to check us in. 8.
Did they inspect?
Yes. They have a biohazard guy, national parks guy, the customs,
guy,
immigration, a medical guy. It was just
Wow.
You know, you want to say overkill, but it's not. It's their livelihood, and that's what they do. And they did walk through the boat. It wasn't as vigorous and as an inspection as I expected. And I think that is because they did use an agent, and we had gotten signed off that the bottom was clean, that we had been fumigated, things like that in advance. So I think the agent was worthwhile. And there were definitely some hoops to jump through, worth it all day long, all day long.
Did you have to grease the palm?
No, none of it.
Nobody went, okay,
No.
you're good to go once you, you know.
No, everyone, no, not at all. Everyone loves a soda or a beer. And, you know, that was the extent of it. And, you know, even if they weren't going to have it right then, it went in the backpack. Everybody loves a soda or a beer.
Wow.
Yeah.
And why didn't you go through the Panama Canal? Because you said because you were busy with your grandbaby. Okay.
The grandbaby's first birthday, I couldn't miss that. So we've done it before on a cruise. Yeah, we've done it before on a cruise ship. I grew up on the Tennessee River, the highest single lift lock. At that time, it was in the country. Maybe it's in the East Coast now, but 100-foot lock. You know, so the Panama Canal was neat for other reasons, and we did do the museum and explore and do that sort of thing from the other side of Panama. So I missed the trek through, which is okay. It's hot and rainy, and that's all right. But the out islands were amazing. Las Perlas, the Pearl Islands, just off the coast of Panama, were fantastic. You know, when you look at cruising pictures of the Marquesas, it's the Bay of Virgins in Fatuhiva, and pulling in there, you just want to cry. It is absolutely prehistoric looking. It's just, I did it. I made it. I'm here. It's really cool.
And that's a place where you can pull up to like a big mountain goes right into the water. You can anchor right up to it. Yes.
And we did. And it was phenomenal diving. And that location and another location, we actually had the big reef manta rays. So not the oceanic mantas, the size of a Volkswagen, but the reef mantas, which these guys had about a 15-foot wingspan under the boat, barrel feeding. They roll in loops and suck in all of the micronutrients. And so I got in the water with my camera at night to film those guys. But if they're there and it's night, then that means the sharks are there as well. So I'm using my camera rig to push off any of the sharks that are coming too close. And I'm trying to get shots of the mantas. And by the time we left the Marquesas, I had identified 3 new ones for the database that a conservancy has put together. So I got to name 3 of the manta rays. So that was cool. They like for them to be Polynesian names. So we did something, Queen's Dream, Tim and Leanne. Is the vessel that I was on, Queen's Dream. So we named Queen of the Ocean for Queen's Dream and Oceanaire. So
wow,
it just was amazing.
You are very adventurous, completely out of the box.
That's why I'm out here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm out of the box too. When I didn't really, it's you really meet a lot of other out of the box people when you start sailing.
Yes, you do.
Which is why we get along so well.
Yeah,
there are a lot of like-minded people out here, and I've said this before too, but at this point, I think we left when I was, I don't know, somewhere in 55 or something. I didn't expect a whole new set of besties and family at this point in my life.
Yeah,
I'd heard great things about the sailing community. I believed it, but I just, from the moment
when you're 55 or 60, you're thinking, I'm not taking new applications for friends.
I'm done here. I'm done here. But from the moment we hit St. Augustine, it started. People began to assist and help and give and suggest and teach and mentor. And I'm telling you, he's in the hospital and someone flew from New York for the day. You know, thanks, Antivason. Somebody gives you their house. Somebody puts your boat to bed. It just
that's way above and beyond. That is
now, and we saw most of those people, right? Everybody tends to try to get home over hurricane season, and we had gatherings with our besties on land. You know, there are people, they're our family, man. They can't get rid of us now.
Yeah, that is so awesome.
It's cool. It's very cool. Highly recommend this life.
That's why I'm going to Georgetown, because it's been a rough year for me. And
Good for
And
you.
it's been really hard just coming this far because
I know. More power to you.
sometimes I feel like grief does something to you. I feel like your feet are in
Yes.
quicksand or something.
Yes,
Like, so
absolutely.
everything, all the stuff I could do before, well, you probably cut that in half at this
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
And so I've just had to kind of be easy on myself. But even coming down, and you got problems with the autopilot and the starter
Right.
and everything. It's like, that's it, I quit. Or the big storm, that's it, I quit.
Yeah,
And then
there
the
are
next day,
days, right?
the next
I'm
day I
proud of
go,
you.
okay, let's go. And I
Right.
got the cats with me and everything.
Good.
That's nice. That's nice. So I don't feel like I've left somebody at home. But
Right.
so Chris, how come you didn't want to go on that trip?
You know, I really wanted to get the boat back to. They asked me, but I really wanted to get our boat back here. You know, back in the islands where we could really use her the way we want to use her. So I was committed to that. I didn't want to wait another year to do that. There's, you know, it's hard. It's really hard going east, right? And I had two people that were willing to go with me. You know, we kind of hit it at the right time of year, and so that was my priority. And the other thing is, you know, I love that Renee got the opportunity. It's okay. Like, I would have gone, but it's not the end of the world for me. It was more important for me to be here.
Is it something that you want to do together on your boat?
You know, we've talked about it, and
Yes.
one of us
Wow.
does. One of us does.
It's
I just
usually
don't know that I'm-
flipped. It's usually
I
the
Yeah,
other way
I know.
around.
I'm just not sure I'm prepared to be that far away from the family.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and good doctors.
Well, yeah, that's, you know, Tinsley, it's funny when we were at home and I was getting better and we were going to go back to the boat. Renee was right. We didn't really know what it would look like, and I didn't know if I would be comfortable, right? You know, being away from the U.S., being away from really good medical care.
Yeah.
And I had really good medical care. I was really lucky with the docs. Well, you know, docs and hospitals in the U.S. are pretty darn good. And, you know, I had great care. I was worried that I'd be uncomfortable, but I'm fine. So maybe next year it's another discussion.
Oh yeah, take it one year at a time.
Yeah.
Right. There's still a lot of cruising ground. We still want to get to the ABCs. We'd still like to do the Western Caribbean.
Right.
Sea of Cortez. You know, there's a lot before you get to the Pacific. So we'll see.
So SV Iodi says grief is depression. Everything becomes harder than it should be, but it is what it is. Yeah, I've kind of just had to be easy. And luckily I have some friends that have been through this. Like, they were friends of mine and I had no idea. I remember after this happened, I called them and I go, I had no idea how painful. I mean, you knew it was painful, but you didn't know how painful. And I said, I'm so sorry. I feel like I just didn't understand, you know.
You don't know until you know.
Until you lose a spouse, you know, 25 years, and then something, you know, I don't have kids, but you know, the kids thing, that would be awful too. And but it's not the same as like even losing your parent, you know, because that's kind of supposed to it's terrible but it's still so and my whole future is uncertain, you know.
Tinsley, I admire you. We have a couple of friends down here that have lost spouses and have kept going.
That's great. I would like to know who they are. I want to interview them.
Yeah. Well, you should. But you know, that takes cruising's hard. Like, I can't imagine doing this without my best friend here, right?
Yes.
It's hard, and to do it alone. I mean, I'm proud of you. I'm really proud.
Thank you.
Of you.
Well, people like you, and you know, there's going to be people that I've interviewed and I haven't met in person, but I'll see them in Georgetown, you know, soon. So, you know, that's kind of why I chose. I'm going to go to Georgetown. I'd already been planning on it. I wanted to do it. And I don't want to be in some lonely Anchorage, getting sad, you know. So.
Right. You're going to have a great time.
Right.
You know, and you go in your dinghy and you point it really in any direction in Georgetown, and there's a different beach, you know.
And
you'll have a blast.
Desi Clark says, super proud of you. I hope is that a she? Is that she? Thank you, Desi. Do you know her? Is that a her?
No, I'm not sure.
It is a her. It is a her. I can see the picture. Thank you, Desi. She says super proud of you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Desi. Yes,
Yeah.
she says yes. LOL. All I had to do was look at the picture. There she is.
Cool.
So I understand. Like, people go, when you get into the Bahamas, when you get in here, when you get there. There's, I just look. I'm just taking it one leg at a time. It's all dependent on
Yeah.
weather. It's weather. Also, I want to
Right.
do real easy conditions for the cats. This is their
Sure.
first sailing trip, and I don't. They're used to being at a house that doesn't move.
How are they doing?
They're older. They're like 12 and 16.
How are they
So-
taking it?
Like, well, this one right here. This is Mango.
That's my next kitty's name.
Yeah, I met somebody in St. John that was Mango, and a friend of mine said,
Oh.
"You need to name your next cat that." So that's what
Yep.
happened.
Love
She a couple of times, which I've already come a long way. I don't even know how many miles it is, but all the way from Alabama, Orange Beach, Alabama, to Miami.
Right.
And there was a couple of legs where she foamed at the mouth, and I took her in the cockpit and just got a little breeze in her face and held her and talked to her, and she stopped. So I don't think it was
Good.
seasickness. I think it was stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the boat
Maybe a
was
combination.
rocking. Yeah. So,
Wow.
but I was thinking about getting some. There's pet CBD. It doesn't have THC
Yes.
in it.
Right.
And I was thinking about maybe asking the vet if they have any of that, and that would just
Good.
kind of relieve some anxiety.
There
So-
you go.
Good.
White YouTube channel Harbors Unknown. SV Wonderlust is struggling with loss of a spouse, grief. Oh, I'm going to reach out to. Is that a she? Anyway, I think I'll reach out to Wonderlust. I might have seen that. That would be a good one to have, and we can be the cheerleaders for people just to keep on going. Because I know
Right.
people will sell a boat when their spouse dies.
Yes.
Right.
And of course, this was my thing. Like, he came with me sometimes, but I mostly sailed by myself. He was very supportive. But what I do miss are all those phone calls and texts. How's the boat? How's the marina?
Sure.
Tell me about those people you met. And he watched all of my videos. And so that was a great video,
Nice. Yeah, we've had experience with quite a few folks. We lost one person in our posse while we were sailing. They were at the boat show, and Angela just didn't feel good. And a few weeks later, she was gone from cancer. We've got a friend that's fighting cancer right now. We have a friend whose wife was run over while she was swimming. We have a friend whose wife.
Where was that?
That one was in the
In
VIs.
Antigua.
Oh, Antigua, right. There was a big one with Mike and Anya Boyd in the Bahamas. They were run over in their dinghy by a powerboat, a local boater, a couple years ago, and she was killed, and he was pretty badly injured. And we volunteered to bring his boat back to North Carolina for him. And he said the cruising community is what got me through this whole thing, but now he's struggling very much to move forward with that sailing life. So I think that there's definitely, there ought to be some sort of group of folks that can help support each other through that.
I'd love to have maybe 2 or 3 of these people. So SV Iodi says Fabio lost Chris and his wife, and that's on a Wanderlust. I would like to get their information. I could probably find them, and maybe who you're talking about. Maybe do a podcast and try to inspire some people. Just get up and do it, no matter how you don't feel like it.
Keep at it.
Right.
Keep at it.
Well, thank you.
As my mother used to say, beats sitting home.
Yeah, I can be sad at home for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been there obviously, but after 34 years, I'm sitting in a hospital room wondering,
scary.
What the hell? How am I gonna? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't recommend it.
Not easy.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
I know.
Thank you. I'll be reaching out to you guys. So, so what else do you guys look? Anything else we would like to catch up on? Is there anything else you want to?
Well, do you know Suki Cannon? Do you know Captain Suki? I need to
I
hook
know
you
that
up
name.
if you don't. Yeah, she's been around Florida a while, but she is a regular in the Bahamas.
And a regular in Georgetown.
And I'm gonna hook you two up because
Oh,
she's
please.
a solo female sailor. She takes on crew and does charters and whatever, you know, comes her way. But I think you guys would definitely enjoy getting to know each other. So I will hook you two up.
Please. Thank you.
Yeah, there's just all kinds of fun to be had in Georgetown.
Yeah, and if anybody, let me put my email up there. If anybody knows of some other widows or widowers, let me put my email up there. saltyabandon@gmail. This goes out on the audio too, on the audio podcast site. So you know, like Apple, it goes around the world. I like to track the audio side of it too. So if
Nice.
somebody's listening, saltyabandon@gmail. So I guess that's it. We told
Okay.
those 2 great situations we discussed.
hey, just one little plug. We're still moving boats. So, you know, we both have our captain's license. We're good at it. So if folks need, particularly down here, need a boat brought home, we are all about that.
Okay, so there's your username. Let me put your email on here.
Okay.
So
Thank
people can
you.
see it. SV
Oceanaire.
Oceanaire. I always want to put 2 N's at Gmail.
Correct.
Yes.
SV
And
Oceanaire at Gmail. So here it is. Make sure I have it right. Is that right? No, I did put 2 N's.
our socials are Sailing the Oceanaire, mostly Instagram.
Oh,
You got it.
this one? Is this one SV Oceanaire?
Oceanaire. You got it.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
email.
Yes.
Instagram is where we post most of our content, Sailing the Oceanaire. We also have a Facebook page for Sailing the Oceanaire, but Oceanaire Yacht Delivery on Facebook is where you can read reviews and hear about our.
How do you like doing that?
We love it.
I could,
We love it.
you know, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when the kids said come home in 24, it allowed us to stay on the water, stay busy, right? Put a little money in the cruising kitty. So
sure.
it gives us an opportunity to check out other boats. We've had some wonderful referrals, word of mouth, just, hey, you know, just some great opportunities. So we've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's fun. A lot of fun.
Well, that's a good idea. So Rhonda Little on SV Lila Jane is another good person who's, do you know who that is?
We love
Rhonda,
Rhonda. Yeah,
she's a widow as well. She's based in Brunswick, Georgia.
Oh,
And
okay.
Rhonda, speaking of the adventurous sort, her boat has been stationary a bit since she lost Bruce, her husband. So what does she do? Starts moving boats across the ocean. She's done, I think, at least, 3 to 5 trips from France over to the States, moving boats now, right? Yeah. She's fun. You should get to know her.
She is adventurous.
Right?
Some amazing women in sailing,
For sure.
right?
For sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys. It sure is good to see you guys again.
Good to see you.
And great to hear from you. I'm so glad you're on the move. I'm so glad you're going to make the Bahamas. I'm glad you've got the kiddies with you.
Yes.
Keep
you.
killing it.
All right. Well, with that, we'll say, oh, wait, there's one more. Oh, wow. We're over in Brunswick regularly, Desi says.
Cool.
Yeah, Rhonda is a Brunswick fixture.
She's not crossing oceans.
So I got 2 people here and you've got someone. So that would be good. Have a panel of 4 to discuss how we get through, how we push through and power through. And
absolutely.
So, okay. Well, with that, the way I end it is Salty Abandon out.